Love, live, life. Life can be glorious and hideous. Stick your feet to the ground, but don't think you are counted out. Don't let the wind pull you and tear you apart. Let yourself live freely and love, and you'll be happy. No limits. Just keep on.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another Iron Will podcast with me, Shane Warner, and
John Chase.
So what this podcast is all about is we are trying to get stories from people that have been through a traumatic experience in their lives and came out a different person.
Yeah, they have all created an iron will. So what is an iron will? A burning determination that cannot be stopped or hindered by anything, willing to do anything to get a desired outcome, extremely resilient. So what we like to say is just keep punching.
Yeah. So sit back and relax, and we're going to start the show.
Whoa. 157 feet away from Monument out into a field. I flew another 110 feet away from my car out into the field.
Oh my gosh.
Spent 10 days in a drug-induced coma.
Wow.
Woke up from that, had to relearn how to walk, talk the whole
Of course.
9 yards again.
What? How fast were you going?
I don't know. There's a lot of it that is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
That,
Yeah, you'll never get back.
That's hard.
So a lot of the stuff I do know memory-wise is I call second party of running into friends like, after high school. Oh, hey, we used to go out and do this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I must have done that.
I'll take your word for it.
I don't know.
Hopefully they're not lying to you.
I don't know. So it's like, okay. But there's a lot of it that way that I don't remember a lot of it. Still have a little bit of problems with a little bit of short-term stuff, work-wise, whatever. Find out the more stressed I get, the worse it goes. So.
Sure.
And
Put on your headphones.
Yeah, so you can hear yourself talking.
Yeah, and then you can kind of hear how close you need to be to the microphone.
Okay,
you can kind of hear the sound. Yeah,
gotcha.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. So let's just start. Let's start it off, and then I want you to go into kind of detail, like from the story. That I guess if you don't remember much, then I mean obviously your parents went to town on like, all the pictures and all that kind of stuff. So that does kind of like give you some information.
Your memory, or
yes, some of it. Like say, I remember I was driving home from my girlfriend's house at the time in Salem, and again, like I say, my neighbor who I owe everything to. He's the one I passed on the Lakeshore Road, headed home. He said he was going anywhere between 50 to 60 miles an hour, and he said I flew past him like he was standing still. So I don't know realistically how quick. Knowing as young and dumb as I was in that car, very well 80, 90, maybe more.
It's a Chevy Nova. What year?
It was 1968.
Okay. So it's got a
307. It had, I grew up restoring almost cars, so it was a project I was working on to car show and do a few things with, and
it had some kick, it had some
kick,
power,
it had some good go, and me being young and dumb and going too fast. But like I said,
did he see it?
He did not see me. He said he came up across the bridge, saw my car in the ditch.
So you passed him going the same direction.
Same direction.
As him.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're headed west towards West Mountain.
Okay.
Wow.
Headed towards home. And like I say, I remember waking up in the hospital, trying to relearn a few things, whatever that way.
That's like for anyone that's gone through a brain injury, that's a really hard thing to deal with. Your memory loss and stuff like that.
That would be hard.
And I don't even have a lot of memory loss, but the little bit that I do have, it's just drives me absolutely crazy.
No, I understand with that because there's, like I say, it's past stuff. I've gotten to where, older I am now, but back in the day, there'd be times where even going back to high school to after where I'd run into people, kids I've grown up with since first grade that would come up and start talking to me like I was their friend, which I was,
Yeah.
but I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of times that I'd have a conversation with them. I'd walk over to my parents or somebody and say, "Hey, so who was that
who's
again?"
that?
And they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, that
Yeah.
was so and so," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." Because
How do I know
So
Yeah.
him?
okay, so did you so this wreck? I want to get like the timeline. This is great. This is a great story.
Nope.
So you wrecked, right? You
Yes.
crashed. Your neighbor was the guy that first
came up across it,
Okay,
yes.
so he called. Then he would have called
he called, 911, whatever, and all that, and then my
ambulance,
parents
yeah.
and all that because they're up the road, and it was probably
And did he know where you were? Because you flew out the
he's-
window, you know?
from what I understand from talking to him, he didn't know exactly where I was at.
Yeah.
They saw the car, called 911, called my parents, got everybody down there, whatever. Walked out in the field, finally found me because it was later at night. I think I'm trying to remember the 9:30, 10 o'clock, 11, whatever. Dark,
Yeah.
darker at night. Again, just trying to think of. But he's like, "Yeah, I came up across you. We threw you. They were gonna life flight me out." But the life flight was too far away, so they just threw me in the ambulance instead and just took me straight up to the Provo Hospital.
Okay.
Like I said, I spent a lot of time there. The drug use coma for a few days, like I say, and then woke up from that.
And do you remember after that?
Not much.
Okay.
Like I say,
So do you not remember any of your time in the hospital?
I remember
even?
some things
Okay.
in the hospital.
Yeah.
I did a lot of walking, according to the
Yeah.
doctors and stuff. I didn't do much talking or anything by any means, but I did a lot of walking. That's when they found out. I guess they didn't know right off. I broke my ankle, so I've got some screws in it and everything else. They didn't know it was broken until
Yeah.
I went to stand up on it and
Oh, right.
didn't like. So they checked it out, and so I put a cast on me. So I started walking around a little bit on that, whatever. But according to my parents, like I say, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know. It took me a little bit to try to
gotta be
remember
so
a lot of
crazy.
things, which it is what it is on now. But
Yeah.
recovery wise, I do remember going to
Outpatient.
outpatient
more.
therapy.
yes.
Yes, I remember a few
Yeah.
things of those. I do remember. I hate to say it. So fast forward a little bit. Got married a few years out of high school. Divorced out of that one. It wasn't quite the way it was. Had my daughter, took care of her. Met my ex-wife. We were married for 5 years. So this was back in 2015 when we got divorced, which threw me back into the kind of the hospital because of the stress. I was working 2 jobs. Threw me back in. We found out that I had more damage to my brain.
Yeah,
Not
sure.
only to the frontal lobe, which was the main part that got destroyed or damaged, whatever you want to call it. I had some spinal cord problems back here that when I swell up, it kind of basically hits, I call it a Control-Alt-Delete. It just kind of resets everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Threw me back in.
Wow.
Lost my job. Lost a few other things through my divorce and that. Try to get back up, keep going. That's one thing, like I say, I love this thing, keep punching. You got to keep going because there's a lot of people I've talked to outside that are like, if I don't know how you keep going. I've lost a lot of jobs. I've lost a lot of friends, but you can't sit there and dwell on the.
Yeah.
Well, but that's the thing that I find with brain injury people. Everyone wants to know how they kept going through it all. But, so I just want to know, want to find out, find out what you went through.
Yes.
So I'm going to introduce you really quick. Today we have Tyler Miner on the podcast with us. And how I know Tyler Miner is I went to school with him, and I don't really remember the details about your accident. I remember when you got in that car crash, and we're just gonna talk to him about that, find out what it was like for him personally.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one thing I want to ask is what year was it in high school?
It was, when it happened, was November 3rd of 03. So it would have been between my junior or sophomore and junior year.
Was that around the same? Are you guys about the same
Yeah.
age?
We're the
Okay.
same age.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So you recall
Yeah.
oh, this guy in our school
But
got in this crazy
I
accident.
didn't know what a brain injury was,
Sure.
and I didn't know anything like that. Like, I just knew he got in a car crash and he was hurt really bad.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of the I didn't know much about brain injuries. I didn't
Yeah.
know much about it's something you don't hear much of.
Well, and it's talked about more now.
yes,
It
it
sure
is.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more.
You kind of learn as you go,
Yes.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because,
And-
like you were saying, several years later, all of a sudden you're realizing there's other things
Yeah.
yes,
going
yeah,
on. Yeah.
I like you say, it's a full on every day. It's something new. You just got to keep, So I do still a little bit of research or whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
Still to this day, trying to figure out what it is. A little bit more tricks.
What's going on
What-
in my
yeah,
head?
What's
Yeah.
going on? Because you go to the doctors, you go to here, you go to wherever, and they can tell you what they know, and
Yeah,
it's like, oh,
right.
but,
Yeah.
but at the same sense, after everything,
They only know what they've seen.
yes,
Yes,
and
exactly. Yeah.
coming from what the doctors and what I've overheard anyway of back after my car wreck, with the way that my back was, the way that everything was, the way I was thrown and all that, they didn't think I was gonna walk. They didn't think I was gonna go, do much of anything. 'Cause
And the amazing thing is he's walking now and he's
Yeah.
working and
yep, working full time, and
You wouldn't
I just-
think that he had
no.
I mean, he's right here in
but-
the room with us right
but
now. You wouldn't think he had a
I
brain injury.
guarantee he can feel like
Sure.
I don't know how to explain this. I guarantee he can feel the effects.
oh yeah, every day,
Yeah.
every day there's
Yeah.
something that's me and wife were just talking about it. It's really hard because we've talked about it with other doctors too. It's the different part of a brain injury is it's inside. It's not physical. It's so there's parts of my brain that are destroyed that aren't ever coming back or can kind of reroute, but not good enough. But I can't show that as if I would have gotten my car wreck and lost an arm.
Yeah.
It's,
Right, right.
I've ran into people to this day that I work with that, I have situations like, oh, what's your deal? Oh, I had a car wreck back in 2003. And they're like, oh, that's
Yeah,
been that long ago.
that's
You can't have
a long
any
time ago.
effects after that long
Yeah.
ago. And it's like,
Yeah.
if I would have
People
lost.
don't understand.
No, it's like if I would have lost my hand, it wouldn't grow back. It's not
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
They,
like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and people if they saw, they're like, oh, he's missing an arm. What
Yeah.
happened? You know what I mean? Then they'd be like, oh man, that really sucks. But with this, you kind of get that blank stare, like they're
Yes.
not quite sure what to say
Well,
about it. At least
if-
you didn't lose
if
your
you-
arm, but
Yes,
you're like,
yes.
I
If
think
you
I might
said
rather
you
lose
got-
my arm.
Yeah, there's moments because it's like I say, it's really hard to explain to people
Yeah.
because I've lost friends, family. Well, not quite, but jobs.
But,
I
yeah,
have
jobs and some
because
relationships.
situations like
Yeah.
that because of the situation, and it's not any more than you can try to explain this because when you try to talk to people, it's like, oh, you look fine to me. I
Yeah.
think you're just. My favorite word I've heard from people is, oh, you're just milking it. You're just trying to use your brain injury as an
agree with that.
excuse, and it's like
So
Yeah.
It's-
yeah, that I'm sure that's even more frustrating, gets you more angry. In terms of like if you've lost several jobs, you say you've gone through a couple different relationships, right?
yeah. Oh yeah.
And you had a kid with one, right? The first.
My first daughter came from my marriage right out of high school.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So
And
she's older.
She's 13.
13. Okay. Yeah.
Pride Joy. Yeah. Had her. Her mom left. Took care of her by myself. Well, me and my family. Met my ex-wife 3.5 years after that. Had my second daughter, who is 9 now, and we were married for 5 years, a little more than 5 years.
That didn't work.
Didn't
either.
work out. Divorced. Surprisingly, met my new wife now, who I've been married for 4 years. Could be wrong on that. Anyway,
You're gonna defeat the 5-year mark. You're gonna get
yes, I'm getting there. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
right there, and things are going great. Where
Good.
we still
Good.
have our situations. I still have my
Well, I feel like it takes a special kind of person to be in a relationship, even like with
Yeah.
any brain injury
Yes.
person. And
Shane's still searching.
oh yeah,
He's he's attracting. That's what I say. That person is being molded right now to match him. So
Yep.
then that way he can have a great relationship.
Yeah.
Because I wish that for Shane. You know,
so
it's-
do I.
It's-
Yes,
that's
it's-
hard.
it is, you know, and I appreciate her, and I, you know, but I do know it's hard. I've been, you know, I've dated a bunch of different ladies back in the day that it didn't work out by any means, and then me and my wife just kind of landed out. But